Kazwa ngewadere starangu ndetwa Mr. Dobby ndini baba wako haiko na utka kuna zvinotkisa zvese zvinototkawo wauona manje. I am a radio and television presenter from Zimbabwe. I'm with Star FM Zimbabwe and I'm also with NRTV.
Right. Sati tafika ikoko kwekuti you are with the Star FM GT. Pamakatangira hivi. Kozi tese takaenda ku primary high school. Vamwe vaitotiwo toda kuita madhokta.
Yeah.
Vachiita masoja. Zvichienda zvakadaro. Saka right. Inini passion yenyu tingati yakatangira pano. Radio, TV, what?
So my passion started in I would say form 2. Kuzasu. I remember kuti taingoita zvaitwa nemunhu wese. It wasn't passion really. It was because that was what was trending panguva iyo. Kwakusati wane hako trends say zvikuitika izvozvo. But that was the trend back in the day kuti mwana wese ari kudzidza aiti when I grow up I want to be a pilot. When I grow up I want to be a pilot. Sandozoti aitongotaura so ndege chidi. But then when I got to form 2, I went on a trip to Bulawayo, my first trip to Bulawayo, and my first train ride. Ndandina mainini vangu and Nandina gogo. So what happened was tatisina mari yakawanda. You see, yekuti chese tibuke mu sleeper. So vanhu vakuru ndo vakanobhukirwa mu sleeper. Mainini nagogo. And then amkomana uyu atisamuke anogona kugara ku standard. So ndakanogara ku standard, but then it so happened kuti mu standard mama kazara kuti unge ku economy zvekuti vanhu vanga vakatogara even ma passage pass chaipo pa floor. So train yafamba for some while. I noticed kuti pana mother vanga vari vechipostori, so vanga vaine twakawanda vaine kamwe kakatori kacheche kakari mumaoko vakagara pa floor vachedza ukayamwisa indi vanhu vaipfura pepe vachivajamba vachivadi, and it disturbed me. Hazvina kunditira musha. So ndakabva ndavakwenya bandati mama ndokumbira muye mugare pasiti, but tachinjana bandanomira pape. There was another gentleman angari on the opposite side, angari on the opposite of the aisle. Ndobva andikwenya zvanzi, young man, you can come and sit on my lap. Ndobva ndanogara pamakumbo pake pepe. So ndakatanga kuteerera nyaya dzaitaura because anditi ndigare palap pake hatina zvimwe zvinhu zvatakazombotaura. Ndakangogara pape tichitoenda train ichitoenda kwairi kuenda. And I had a very small body. Ndiri ku secondary school, really small, zvo ndaitoitwa ngemwana weku primary. But ndaiteerera nyaya dzavari kutaura nemusikana wanga akagara naye pasiti ipapo vachitaura nyaya dzavo vachidi. From nyaya dzavo dzavakataura, I don't remember vachitaura zvinhu zvebasa, but I remember admiring his voice. So tazoti fambe vamboitwa ngevanyarara kutaura nemusikana. Ndakazomuti elder, can I ask you something? Zvikanzi chii mufana wangu? Bandamuti, are you a radio presenter? Ndobva atoseka zvikanzi no, I'm sorry, I'm not. Bandati it's okay. Ndandafunga kuti muri radio presenter. Pazvatopera ndobva tatanga kutoenderera mberi. Ndobva tazoti tasvika mubulawayo makuseni. Pakusimuka pepe takuda kutoenda. Train yasvika, munhu akuda kuburuka mutrain tichienda kutoenda, akuda kutsvaga mama vangu nagogo vangu, iwo akuenda kwari kuenda. Ndobva atora wallet yake, ndobva avhura wallet, ndobva abuditsa business card. Trans gentleman, pane mubvunzo wambondibvunza pepe about kuti ndoshanda kupi. Here is my card. My name is Jackson Madzimba. I'm with Sport FM. And then I knew it. So I kept that card. But then anaro kumba kubulawa ikoko. And then I remember, I think I called him once. Ndishingomti mkoma makadi mafamba zvakanaka. And then that's when he was telling me about Basarake, kuti Aishanda on the Maichi Samba team as well. And a number of things that he told me. But atina zvakawanda zvatikanya nyota. I don't know what that did to me. But for some reason, it made me want to say I want to be a radio presenter with my life. Kubva musiwoyo, it was third term, tichangopedza kuvhara third term ye form 2. Takuda kucrossa kuenda form 3. But from then on, I made my mind. I said, muupenyu wangu, I now want to be a radio presenter. So whatever I started doing muchikora, I was pushing towards wanting to be a radio presenter. I remember asking to be changed into an arts class. I remember pachikoro pandaidzidza, I was at Dombora Mwari Secondary School in Epworth. Papa sina Bible knowledge, but then paka research kandandaita kuti uzokwanisa kuita journalism nemedia and stuff, waifanirwa kunge wakaita at least divinity, history ne literature. ku A level. So I was told panguva iyoyo. But pachikoro pandaidzidza padombo raMwari patime iyoyo pasina Bible knowledge, of which ndakanzwa manje nemakuhwa kunzi kuti uzokwanisa kuita divinity ku A level unofanira kunge uine background yeBible knowledge. Saka ndakatanga kuiita ndega pachikoro. Ndikaenda luckily kulibrary kuchikoro kwakuine text material yeBible knowledge, studied and everything. Zvekuchikoro zvikapfuura, that's a story for another day. Now tazopinda in the real world. Unfortunately I couldn't go to college. Zvinhu zvasinonyatsa kumira mushe kumba, so I struggle. And I moved from Epworth Kwandaigara. I followed my mom, my Nini, to Rusape. Shigara ikoko, I remember I applied twice to Kosa, Christian College of Southern Africa, for a place for journalism. And both times I got an offer letter. But kutizwana mari manje, kuti ndienda college. Mari can't get. So I still tried to push. And everyone within my circle knew. Mfesu loves radio. Everyone within my circle, my best friends knew. Around I knew. Because even kuchikoro, I remember when I was in Form 3, Ndakatangaka Club against Journalism Club, where there was no event that would happen in the school that I would not be invited to. Just a journalist tika invited. And I would go to places, kuma sports, ndaenda journalism ngamanya. And I remember what Pampacho tata kutendera zvemiskanzwa zvinhu zvekutonakidzwa. Chingoti handine journalism club, saka ndofana kuenda. And would record news and stuff. So that's the background of where I came from. Now, how did I get to be a radio presenter where I am now? I remember I would say technically I waited for close to 9 years from when I finished school up to where I eventually got my first job as a radio presenter. Took me almost a journey of 9 years. Now, this journey of 9 years was not an easy one. It involved a lot of struggles. It involved a lot of auditions that didn't yield to anything. Paiti pese padedzerwa audition. Ndaimanya, ndaienda. I remember my audition, ndakapedzera kafesi kangu kakuzikanwa kuZBC uko. Chiti kukabuda audition, ndomhanya tosvika paipe, tonorova, ndanyatsokunzwa kuti panapa ndabhura chaizvo. But then hapana chaizobuda afterwards. I remember one audition that I went to where I was told it should have been Tendai Chakanyuka, who said to me, young man, that was brilliant. See my details, we will call you. And that was that. Nothing happened afterwards. Then there was one incident that really surprised me. I don't know how that happened, but it gave me motivation, because there was a time when I then gave up. It was okay, about 4 or 5 years. Shinda for auditions, which it say, you start to feel like, maybe let me quit. So when I was on the verge of quitting, that should have been around 2016, I think, 2015, 16. I got a call, and it was from a landline number. You know, my landline numbers are not often got apply. Now, and I never thought it was radio. To apply because you try many other jobs. In Richards so I never thought it was radio. That day I call. First thing they did was ask me, is this Mr. Aaron Dobi? No, not Mr. And afar, yes, it is Mr. Aaron Dobi. And then they said to me, we are calling from ZBC, and we'd like you to come through for an interview tomorrow. Oh, interview? Because usually the norm was you would be called for an audition, not individually. They wouldn't call you individually for an interview. But it's an advert. You would call them auditions, more than thousands and stuff. But on this one, I received a call. They want me for auditions. And I'm thinking to myself, did I ever apply with ZBC? That no, I didn't. So I'm so long that I forgot, or maybe the last audition I had done a couple of years back, maybe I was going to go through the affairs or as no number. So I was told what to wear, formal clothing and stuff. I was told some of the expectations and stuff. And I went for the interviews. And I was baffled when I got to the interview as well. What baffled me was ndanda jaira zvokuti tikaenda audition. Tunataka wanda zvokuti maybe thousands of people. But in this interview, there were just 9 of us. 9 people. I'm like, I'm one of the 9 people who are phoning for an interview. What is this all about? And the next surprise I then got was, this interview was for a radio station that I had not applied for. Nansi nombo virana muenda ku audition ya Sport FM before. Nansi nombo virana mbo apply at any radio station before. But then they were looking for producers. for Sport FM, which was quite a surprise for me. I was surprised really. But then we went through the interviews, and it was quite exciting, meeting new people. Uh, and after the auditions, after the interviews, kwakudzokera omba. And again, as expected, that was that. It was Rapier. So later on, in 2019, I got a call. Apa ndandazo tunyatsuita give up cheche kutoti hano radio ndasiyana nazvo. Those were the days dzandanda kushanda on the floors in Richards tichirongedza shop tichidi. And I'd given up on radio totally. Kanzara kakarimo mukati but chachaita kuti ndite give up was because I had said kuti ndamboedza pandinogona zvaramba so rikansiyane nazvo. And then I got a call from two cousins of mine. Shout out to Takudzwa Chere and shout out to Tinashe Jungu, the big Nash. So these two guys vakandifonera. Zimdara pani auditions ataona. Ndimunhu weredio, kuruda on radio. And funny enough, I remember telling them, but I don't think I'll go. And in my head, I was thinking, and worse on, bandazonzwa kuti auditions aya ndazoona flyer yarandanda tumirwa kuma auditions uko kwaitobhadharwa kuti upinde and mama auditions isandana mwena washure kwakusingabhadharwa. So I thought, why even waste my money zvisingazobude vanenge vaine vanhu vavo. That's what I thought. Because mumwe kwezi kumashure ndaizongonzwa kuti vanhu vapinda basi kuaudition yatekenda ndamboudzwa kuti you're brilliant. So I ignored it. I ignored it up until the very last day, just the Friday before the auditions. Ndopandakazofunga in my head, I was like, no. Even since I love radio, but I think I will never be able to be on radio. The best way I can maybe exercise being on radio is when if I go to my auditions, even for a minute or two, then let me go there for the fun of having 2 minutes radio. Although it's a live radio, right? But just for the fun of it, let me pay for it. And I remember the Friday and that tambira. So omwedza isikuinyani tumari. Ndabudisa kamari kangu. Vandabhadhara neiko cash. Vandatodzwa namba yangu kuti namba yakati and stuff. We went again to our College of Music. Ndosvika vatotopinda queue. Both of my cousins vangwanipa list vangwanipa flyer ready. They were there as well. Takuna Big Nash. Vatapinda. And I remember kuti I was not even bothered about what was going on. Ndandini ndokanonzi kashowera. I had kabunduke baziso so ndine problem baziso but ndakatopfeka ndakapfeka handizozona ndakapfeka but it wasn't that good looking because musoro mwana tumwe unonakirwa tumwe unofara tatogara mai antaura nyaya ndichitaurisa chitasei vhengedzera because I didn't care about the outcome. So there were two parts of the interview. First part, there was a part where you were supposed to read, of which reading is a skill that I've mastered. I'm quite a good reader, so I didn't find that quite challenging. The pure, you choose a segment that you want to read and then you'd read. Kanoka pass that first segment, your audition, then you'd pass on to the next room. So vanda passa paper. My reading is okay, but I end up to the next stage. Next stage manje takangoudzwa neomwangu abve kuti unopinda mukatumu kune makamera kune chi. So I thought, exactly, this is what I want. The fun. Because this has never happened in my life. But to say I wanted to win the auditions, to say I wanted to get a job or anything, I was far from it. So we got in there, and my 10 came. So the first thing that caught my eye, something that fascinated me, was murumu umumamine mamira angari kumadziro. Like 2 meters anova kumsoro ceiling kunosvika ku floor, and anga akawanda in the room, so I could see myself on the meters. That's something that fascinated me. Then the next thing that fascinated me was I saw popular faces. Like one on a piece of radio, on a panel. There was Danny, that guy from ZFM Stereo. There was Tete Tilda from Star FM. There was Napoleon Yani. He had just left Star FM then, and who else was there? There were a couple of there was Miss Red. I met Miss Red as well. I can't remember who else was on the panel, but there were a number of people on the panel. I think there was Munya as well. I can't remember. So, ndapinda murumu memwe. I looked at my face in one of the mirrors, and then I made funny face and waved at myself. I remember one of the judges, and I can't remember the end, but I remember what they said. They called out, and then my such a sign because I didn't care what I did to them, so I didn't mind putting them off in the round because Kwandiri, I was there for the fun. They asked me to introduce myself. I did. My name is Aaron Doby, and this is my profile. In the chats and stuff. And then they said, okay, we're giving you 2 minutes of being live on radio. It's your time to shine. So the first thing I did was radio is on. The is a radio. That's what I did. Exactly that. The is a radio. And then I started speaking as if I was on radio. There was an issue that had happened in that year, 2019, where I think it was Tsitsima C or Strive Masiwa's wife who had gone off Twitter. It was called Twitter then. It was not yet X because of cyberbullying. I don't know the stories, but then I remember she had got off Twitter because of cyberbullying and stuff. So I remember talking about that story, and I was passionate. I was excited about that story. I wanted to share it, but then this certain that one halfway through I think minute one. No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can get your name written down. Thank you so much for coming. I was offended. Number one, nothing express and don't radio. And then I want to tell my story. And you didn't give me the chance to finish. I was offended, honestly. And I told myself, obviously, I'm not mbonakirwa funny faces and stuff. But then, nevertheless, I left my phone number in my email. And I walked out and I went and I ignored that it ever happened. I forgot about it. A month later or so, I got a call from Big Nash, my cousin. Says, Baba, ko amusku uya wani kuma class. My class is A. Nzeku radio presenter masterclass. And do chichocho. And you remember my auditions that I did. Ndikati svanzi makapinda kati no handinopinda ena vanondifonera svanzi aiwa baba makapinda no but ndatomupikisa ndikati handinofonerwa baba svanzi ko text message hamuna text yamadini ndikati handina text yandikareceive svanzi aiwa baba ini ndikuziva kuti makapinda ndikati why are you saying so svanzi pama-emails atiri kusenderwa because ndakapindawo pama-emails atiri kusenderwa your email is copied saka muripo ava inini hana ndisiri munhu wekucheka ma-emails ndezvechirungu ndezvechisaradheya ndocheka email kune email kwamune kusina kana chinhu kune notifications ekuyoutube so I didn't do that. But what I thought to do, because I remember Big Nash also suggested, he was like, fonera vanhu vekumasterclass uvabvunze tsvaga airtime pipe action vafona hello guys ndonzi Aaron Doby ndisati ndambopedza kutsanangura nyangu mfana wangu uri kupi we're looking for you ndikutsvagwa ndakapinda wakapinda mfana. I was overexcited. So this was not a radio job. These were radio classes. So I found also badara school fees but the idea kuti pane audition yandaita and I was successful and they accept. And the fun part, the exciting part, the motivating part was there were thousands of people who showed up for the auditions. I think I got 2 days more auditions. But audition. Out of those thousands of people, they were looking for 20 people. And I was one of those 20. That was a motivator. It told me that I still had a chance. I was happy. So we went for the classes and the classes were tough. Really tough. So deep. I think let me take a quick break, breathe, and come back to you because the classes, when I think about them, they are very emotional moments. Before I take the break, I just want to say thank you to the team at the Ginger Apple Group. Thank you to Napoleon Nyani. Thank you to Pana. Thank you to Rumbi. Thank you to Ishe. You understood me in the most difficult of times. You gave me a chance. You gave me an opportunity. That was life-changing. That was transforming. I think I'll take a break and I'll continue after taking a breather.